Are you considering buying a home? And do you need help with the lending part of it? Of course you do, because the lending part is a huge component. The best mortgage broker that I know is Brent Starts, Unitas Lending in Stuart, Florida. I'm a little bit biased because I'm married to him, but I actually get a front row seat of how Brent handles and helps his clients. Brent has a servant heart. Brent has been in the business for over 30 years, but over 30 years, he's learned and has such a big toolbox of ways of helping people, thinking outside the box. And he offers many programs that can help almost anyone get into a home. So if you're wanting to get into a home, or you're wanting to move, or you're even wanting to turn your current home into a rental and get another home, you want to start with Brent. He's going to help you. I always say that Brent's like a counselor. He's a prayer warrior. He's a life coach, all in one. I hear Brent get on the phone with people and talk to people, and suddenly they're fast friends. This is something that made me fall in love with him over 22 years ago. One thing that I can guarantee is there's nobody who's going to treat you better than Brent. And if you want to get into a home and you want to get to the finish line and achieve that goal, he's the guy to have on your team. Thank you for letting me introduce you to him. I want you to watch this video. I think it shows the heart about Brent and how legacy is very important to him, and that you are somebody who can be that one, the one who makes a difference in your family's life and gets into the game of real estate. And once you're in this, it starts to become a way of accumulating stability and wealth for your family. I think that this is such an important thing, because this is a time right now when you're going to need somebody that you can trust to navigate the waters, especially moving to Florida. So if he can be helpful to you, please reach out to him. Thank you so much. How would anyone not want to walk through this with a mortgage broker?
With all that's going on.
Right. It's the same thing. You would go and you would have a mentor for losing weight. You would have a mentor for a job coach. You would have these different type of things. So when I hear people say, "Oh, I just go into my bank," whatever the bank is,
right,
I'm like, wow, that's interesting, because the majority of people who work at the bank, to me, don't seem like they're that warm and fuzzy.
Right.
I mean, I go to the bank, and people are not saying, "Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you." Right. They don't know about, my mom. They don't know about my dog. They don't know things like that.
Right.
But when I hear you on the phone with people, and when you come home and you're like, "Hey, can you pray for my client? Right. They got this diagnosis, or this is happening." I just don't understand when this is something so big in one's life. When somebody calls Unitas Lending, they get something so deep and so vast and so wide, with knowledge, with prayer, with concern. That's just priceless. That's a priceless phone call.
Right. One of the things we do, as you know, it's usually the largest investment someone will make in their life is their home.
Oh, for sure.
It's where they're going to raise their family. So this isn't like a transaction when you're going out and buying a car you're going to have for a few years, that type of thing. And cars are important. We need them and everything. But a home is a home. When we were dating, we talked about the difference between a house and a home.
We did.
And we talked about the importance of making a home. It's really ingrained in our culture here, and, really to take every client on. This is something that's precious and important to them, so it's precious and important to us.
Right.
And so we walk people through some challenging things, and we've been in a lot of celebrations, and giving keys to the home as their first home ever. That's one of my favorite things, is to see someone get a set of keys to their home, and their first time home buyer. Some of the greatest stories are actually around no one in their family had ever bought a house on either side of their family had ever bought a home. Those are probably the most precious.
Yeah,
honestly.
That's so sweet, because it's a legacy,
right? It's a legacy,
yeah, it
right?
Changes
it changes the family. I always say there's always one in every family. Right. Every family has one that's going to change the path of their family. That's going to do it different this time, and not they're going to take the good things from their family and keep those things, and reject the rest that didn't work for them.
Right.
When we were dating, you said there's things. I said, Jenny, how'd you get through some of the things your challenges you went through? And it's like I said I've decided to agree or disagree.
Exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so and that's what we all need to do, to make better choices. Like, hey, do I agree with this or I disagree? And if you disagree with something, you can set it down. And if you agree to doing some of the hard things,
right,
making some of the difficult choices to move forward in your life and progress and build a life for yourself and your family, those things aren't always easy. Frankly, most often they're scary. So we walk people through that choice all the time. And
speaking of legacy, I was thinking about this when you were saying it, how sometimes someone says something and you just all of a sudden have these pictures in your head and see something really come together. You were brought home from the hospital, and so was your brother and your other brother and your sister, all to the house that your dad and mom built.
That's right.
What was really sweet is to come full circle is they raised their family, mm-hmm. They were retiring, and they decided to move from Ohio.
That's right.
All the way to Oregon.
Right.
To be near your sister who was having children.
Right.
And you think about that.
Right.
They didn't realize they were already showing us it's okay.
Right.
Like, it's okay if you're going to make a move from California to Florida and you have built a life here.
Built everything. Both sides of the family were there.
Right. So your parents already were like trailblazing something for us, right? And you don't realize, but part about ownership, mm-hmm. and what is sweet is both of them have passed. When we just went for your dad's celebration of life and your mom was still with us, and we went to your old childhood home. Our fifth daughter, she took her first steps on grass.
Right.
In your childhood home. It's so sweet and like a surreal moment.
Yeah. Because
you could see your older brother and his children and you with your children and your sister's children were there. That is just so, as somebody who didn't have like that same home that I could go back to, it was really something. And just to hear the stories, like we're just sat out on that patio and we're hearing stories. That's where I got a pony. This is where I cut down corn. Right. This is, the tree my mom and dad planted. Right. When you're coming to Florida, and you are saying, wait, I wish I had got in.
Right.
Like, no. Get in when you can.
Right.
And, have a bunch of babies, start measuring them on the wall.
Right. Those types of things.
And plant a tree.
Right.
And do these things because you don't even know how the blessings could fall.
We did all those things you mentioned. We had heights marked. We planted trees at certain events and things like that. We had a barn that I built with my dad.
That red barn, yeah. We have a picture of it too, like with you and a couple of our kids in front of it.
That house was $11,000, by the way.
The memories. It probably cost us $11,000 to fly our family of six, just to get there, and the hotels and the rental car. Childhood stories that you tell the kids around the dinner table, they come alive when you're there and you're saying, wait a second, this is where the creek was that you were swimming and you would almost drown in, or this is just memories. This is just life. This is something that you take with you.
It's really important.
It is important.
It's super important.
It's important versus I've sat around with families because I love hearing people's stories and I love family, and they'll say, wait a second, was that this apartment or was that this house? Was that when we rented here, or did we live there? Or there's this thing happening right now with society. Mm-hmm. I feel like we've bought into a lie that, it's not important. Like starting a family and having a home and having roots isn't so important.
Right.
But now there's a comeback that I have had everything that the world could offer. But what's super important to me is at night, I want to share that with somebody.
Right.
That's a spouse.
Right.
I want to leave something behind for someone. Well, who?
Right. And the older you get, the more important that becomes.
Right.
And I think people are coming back to it 100%.
Yeah, they are. They
100%. I see that.
And you're more fulfilled.
100%.
Your mom was a teacher. Your dad was an engineer. But we don't ever really talk about them being a teacher or an engineer.
No. what we talk about is we talk about my mom, who, somebody mentioned my mom just on like in our town has because it's a small town, they have a town Facebook page or whatever. And my mom's name was mentioned, and, one after another after another.
Yeah. That just like caring and pouring in to people.
Change people's lives. And that's what it's all about.
Right.
At the end of the day, how can you bless other people and build something and build a life, not to be proud of, I guess, or just be significant, that you have a significant purpose in this life. And, I think people are getting back to the most important things.
They are.
And it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's good to see.
That is good to see. That's kind of why we made the video is people will say, how was the move? It was a move, but I've actually had more stressful vacations than the move because we had a goal. We had a vision, and the Bible says, like, if you have a vision, you're not going to perish, or you're going to get through it.
Right.
And it's going to settle. The same thing, when you have toddlers and little infants, sometimes you're like, am I going to get through this? You're going to get through it. There's no choice. We get through it. We are better off. And I think we have a better marriage. I think our children are amazing, and they have opportunity to have families and live near us. They have opportunity to have businesses and be near us. And that would not have happened if we had stayed in California. It's just too expensive. We wouldn't have, the same sort of opportunity for children. So I think you sometimes look at things of what is going to be a benefit later for even my children. I'm glad that we moved. I'm really glad we moved.
I'm grateful for it too. And we wanted to find a place where all these kids we have would want to be near us. So we knew we needed to be somewhere warm. The climate needed to be nice, and it needed to have the ability to work and to play in the same place, and and own a home and all those things. And so really saw this as a great opportunity, and glad we did it. Absolutely. So
for sure.
Well, thanks so much for coming today and listening into our personal lives a little bit here. But thank you, Jenny, for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
It was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for answering the questions and helping me so I can explain it better. I mean, you're super knowledgeable, so that's awesome.
It's fun. I love doing what I do, and appreciate you making me cry. So that's good too. That's fine. It's good. I had great parents, and so it was just a nice memory. Thank you.
I'm very blessed.
Absolutely. And so I just invite you to subscribe to our channel if you like this video, if it blessed you in any way. Also, ring that notification bell. That way you won't miss any of our upcoming episodes. We'll be doing videos like this, lifestyle videos, as far as building wealth. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about new home developments occurring here in our area, and let you know what's going on, up to date on that. That's changing all the time as so much building's going on here. Really exciting developments coming along the line. And so I do hope it blesses you, and you have a great day. Be good to each other.